You're listening to Pitch Talks, bringing you the game.
Welcome to the PitchTALKS Collective, a channel dedicated to giving you a head start to follow your passion of sport and turning it into your career. Today, I'm joined by Baz Moffat, co-founder of the Well HQ, who will be telling us about an exciting position they are recruiting for, what makes a truly great applicant, and how her advice of getting into the sports industry. So Baz, it's great to have you join us on PitchTALKS Collective. Perhaps you'd like to introduce yourself and the Well HQ.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you so much for having me, Mitch. I'm Baz Moffat. I was an international rower quite a long time ago now, about 12 years ago. I was on the British rowing team for 4 years, rowing in the women's 8. And since then, I've been a personal trainer for quite a while. And then over the last 6 years, really specialised in pelvic health and women's pelvic health. And over the last year, I've created the Well HQ with two other wonderful women, Dr. Bella Smith and Dr. Emma Ross. Dr. Bella is a GP and Dr. Emma Ross is an exercise physiologist. And I had worked for 10 years in the English Institute of Sport, working with all the Olympians and Paralympians. And we set out to set up our own business. We went out and got investors, we've got business support, and we kind of like really wanted to, like the approach I took to my sport, which was like, I am aiming like for the absolute top. Like that's what we have done with this business. And we are all about female athlete health. So we are about females. We're not just for females, if that makes sense. So it's all our content is all around female athletes, but we 100% get that we can't alienate the guys because most females are kind of coached and supported by men. So we have to educate them as well. And so we have lots of courses, lots of webinars, lots of content. We're launching a membership in June. And we've got a book coming out. Like it's all around how to educate everybody around being female, so that our belief is that health can sit alongside performance. And I think for too long within the world of high performance sport, especially, but also in participation sport, it's all been about the sport and performance. And female health has been massively compromised because we're giving them a training environment and a training program, which is essentially for a man.
So as you mentioned, the Well HQ is relatively new.
Yeah.
You're rapidly growing, and you're now on the lookout for a new role of digital marketing and community manager. So can you tell us a little bit about the job specification and what the applicants can be expected to be in charge of and carry out as part of this role?
Yeah, so we feel it's a full-time role. So at the moment, I've got 3 people working with me on marketing, and we've got like a strategic person. We've got someone looking after our organic social, and we've got someone looking after our paid-for social, who are both really experienced. But we're just growing at quite a rapid rate, and so I feel I need somebody that can really work for us full-time if possible. And essentially we want them to be able to look after 90% of our content, if you like. So they will be working with Emma, myself, and Dr. Bella, and also the guy that's in charge of it all, and really planning out all of our socials. So helping us create the content. So we need people that can create content and actually use Hootsuite or use a kind of a planning tool so that it's all scheduled out there. And we're also going to be launching a membership in June, and we want someone who can really look after that community for us. We've got pretty ambitious goals in terms of the size of that membership, and we know it won't start off like that, but we feel that's where it's going to be going. And we need somebody who's like just loves engaging with people and they need to like live and feel like what we're about and we are on an absolute mission, and we feel we're starting a revolution, and we're not sorry about that, and we're not kind of like, being sort of quiet about that. So we kind of want someone who's a bit bold and someone that's kind of like, okay, like let's get some work done.
Absolutely. And is there any specific channels that you're really looking to enhance, or are you just trying to look to have a consistent brand message?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're across the 4 big ones. So we're on, we have like quite good reports that come through each week, and then each month we have a bigger report. And it's quite interesting to see like the size of the how much interest the post gets, but then also how that leads to things that are, visits to our website, and then how that ultimately leads to sales. So I think each channel has its own role, but we have a different strategy for each channel. So, you might have a you might think, okay, I'm great on Instagram, but as long as you know enough about Twitter and enough about LinkedIn and you're not intimidated by those spaces, then that's okay. This is a role really for someone with like 3 or 4 years experience in digital marketing. It's not a graduate job or it's not apprenticeship at all. It's someone who's got a bit of an idea around it and understands how each platform works. We're not doing Clubhouse. We don't do TikTok. Despite the fact that everyone keeps sending us opportunities to be part of all that. But we're not on YouTube at the moment, and we don't do podcasts. So all these things like could potentially happen, but it's the four main social media platforms that we're on at the moment.
You really nicely touched upon then the experience that you're looking for from your ideal applicant. So the sports business is so highly competitive to stand out in. And with all these jobs that come up in sport, there gets hundreds of different applications. So for you, what makes an application stand out? Is it the work experience, the presentation of their CV? What really stands out for you?
Do you know what the thing that stands out for me? I think that the presentation has to be good enough. Doesn't have to be flashy. And in fact, if it's too flashy, it kind of puts me off. It's kind of like when you do Bake Off, isn't it? It's like if the cake tastes shit, then but it looks brilliant, then you're always going to be disappointed. So I think it just needs to be good enough. And I think like I'm a sports person, like we want a solid individual who can be part of our team. And I think that for me, it's having genuine engagement in our content. So we can see we've done free webinars, we've done pay for webinars, we've done lots of Instagram lives. Like, have you actually watched our stuff? Have you read our blogs? And that is not a difficult thing to do. And you'd be surprised at the number of people who don't even do that. And do you have an opinion? And it might not be our opinion, or do you have a genuine interest in what we're doing? And you might not feel you've got the knowledge base. That's not what we're interested in. It's the fact that you're like, oh my God, I saw this and I got this. And have you thought about this? I think it's having a genuine interest in what we're doing.
So just on that again, of what you are doing, a lot of your work and attention is going towards changing people's ideas on how women should be trained, and be open to talking about this, especially when it comes to male coaches. Because like you said, there are a lot of male coaches teaching women in sport. How do you see this being represented in your team moving forward from employability, equality?
Yeah, so that's a really great question. So obviously we are 3 female founders, and we're 3 white heterosexual female founders, and we've got female investors, and we are working in the world of female health. So it's really, really important to us that we are not seen as an angry feminist brand that intimidates all men. So we're also backed by like a business, they're called Propel, and they've really, really supported us. There's lots of guys involved there. And also when we're talking, with clients and all that kind of stuff, and we work in the corporate space, we work in education, we work in sport, there's loads of guys involved with that. So for us, it's really important that the people that influence us and are part of our network, we need diversity. We are really aware of the fact that we are 3 white women, and we need to have diversity, because otherwise that is the lens, and that is the unconscious bias that we bring to the table. So we kind of like, that's the inner circle. And then we have another group of, they're not necessarily influencers, but they're people that really help us, and they comment on us, and they're kind of trusted advisors, if you like. And they come from the world of disability sport. They have different backgrounds in terms of race and culture and gender identity, so that we know that we're kind of like, we're not going to be all to everybody. We're not doing that, and we're going to mess up. We're not going to get it right, but like we are aware of it, if that makes sense. And we actively seek opportunities to get better in this space.
Sure, absolutely. It's just learning from one another.
It is, and I think it's a really tricky one, because it kind of feels like you don't want to mess it up, like, because it's and I think that we know we will at some points, but we are. It's more than on our radar, and it's something that we're working on.
Absolutely. Well, our final question that I have is, as we mentioned, the sports industry is seen as a luxury to get into, especially those that really, really love their sport on a personal level. So being able to work in it is almost like a dream for some. But obviously with that is so much competition. So what advice would you give to people looking to take that step to get into sport?
I think now more than ever, you can get close to the people you want to get close to. Do you know, it's networking, it's being there, it's kind of putting your head above the parapet, like when it comes to commenting on LinkedIn profiles. Unless you're like Serena Williams or someone with a massive following, most companies and organizations look at all the engagement. It's all about engagement on social and digital. So if you are commenting on that, then you will be on their radar. And I think it's just really just starting to get involved and starting to connect with us. I mean, I've literally just had a DM today from somebody that saw our Instagram live today on concussion in sport. And she was like, oh my God, I've worked in the world of education. What you're doing is incredible. I've said, oh, we want to develop this. Can you give me my email? I now know her. And then, so don't just send a random CV out and fingers crossed, hope for the best. I just think actually now, it is pretty easy to engage with brands and individuals and organizations because they love engagement. That is what all the social is all about.
Absolutely. If you'd like to find out more about the digital marketing and community manager role, make sure to check it out on the Well HQ LinkedIn page or in the PitchTALKS Collective group, also on LinkedIn. So thank you, Baz, for joining me today. It's been a fascinating discussion and good luck in your search.
Great. Thank you so much, Mitch.
And thank you for listening. We hope you found this session valuable, and we'll be back again soon with more job opportunities and advice to help you find your way into sport. So make sure you follow the PitchTALKS Collective page for future announcements.